Something uncommon is happening inside Katie Price's family right now, and it apparently starts with her own daughter. Princess Andre is said to be completely shocked by her mom's unexpected marriage to Lee Andrews, especially after allegedly discovering the news the same way the public did, online. That detail alone has raised eyebrows, because it suggests distance, not celebration. Then came the deeper concern. Stories about Lee's past, accusations, former relationships, questions about trustworthiness, started circulating quickly, and insiders claim alarm bells rang almost immediately for Princess. This isn't being framed as gossip from her side. It's being framed as safety. So now the tension is clear. On one side, a daughter reportedly trying to protect her mom. On the other, Katie claiming she's a grown woman who can make her own choices. And that clash is what's turning this marriage into something much bigger than just another celebrity wedding. The shock really began when Katie Price suddenly announced she'd married again, her fourth time walking down the aisle. There was no long public build-up, no gradual introduction. One moment the relationship was relatively low-key, and the next she was already calling Lee Andrews her husband. For many followers it felt sudden, almost quicker. Lee was initially introduced as a businessman, but that explanation quickly came under heavier scrutiny. Reports, online discussions, and resurfaced claims started circulating, shifting attention away from the romance itself and toward questions about his background. That shift changed the tone of the conversation almost overnight. And the pace didn't slow down. Marriage was followed almost instantly by travel plans, Dubai visits, and what looked like an ongoing honeymoon phase. Public images suggested celebration, but behind the scenes, sources say some family members were uncomfortable from the start. Not necessarily opposed to Katie finding happiness, but concerned about how fast everything seemed to be unfolding. As the relationship became more public, attention quickly shifted to Lee Andrews himself. And that's where the storm really started to build. Online investigators and media reports began pointing to alleged AI-enhanced images on his social accounts, escort site claims, and what some describe as a complex romantic history. None of this automatically proves wrongdoing, but it has definitely fueled disbelief. Then came the voices from his past. Several women described as former partners have issued public warnings to Katie, urging caution and sharing their own experiences. That's important because it moves the story from unidentified gossip into direct personal testimony, even though those claims remain challenged. There's also the reported legal issue in the UAE. Accusations that he faked an ex-girlfriend's signature to secure a large loan. Lee denies the allegation and no final legal resolution has been publicly confirmed. Still, the story continues circulating, and uncertainty like that tends to keep public doubt alive. So at this stage, nothing is definitively proven, but the buildup of accusations, denials, and unanswered questions has created a cloud around the relationship. And that's exactly what appears to be worrying Katie's family the most. That concern reportedly pushed Princess Andre to act rather than stay silent. According to insiders, she helped arrange what's being described as an intervention-style conversation. Not dramatic confrontation, but an attempt to get her mom to hear directly from women who claim past relationships with Lee. The thinking reportedly was simple. If Katie wouldn't listen to headlines or online chatter, maybe direct accounts would carry more weight. And this is where the emotional layer becomes harder to ignore. This isn't being framed as celebrity gossip from Princess' side. It's being framed as a daughter worried about her mom's well-being. Sources say she was deeply unsettled by what she'd been reading and felt she had to step in before things moved even further. But that creates a difficult dynamic. Normally, parents protect children. Here, the roles appear slightly reversed. A young adult trying to protect a parent who claims she's fully capable of making her own choices. That tension between protection and independence is now shaping how the whole situation is being publicly taken. Katie Price hasn't stayed silent about any of this. In a recent vlog, she addressed the situation directly while preparing to head back to Dubai, making it clear she wasn't interested in responding to every headline or online claim. Her tone was firm, less defensive, more contemptuous of the noise surrounding the relationship. She repeatedly stressed one central point. She believes she knows exactly what she's doing. Katie framed the criticism as outside rumor rather than informed insight, accentuating that people don't have access to the full reality of her relationship. That message was consistent throughout. Confidence over explanation. Age and experience also became part of her argument. She pointed out she's approaching 48, referenced therapy, personal growth, and learning self-worth over the past few years. The implication was straightforward. She sees herself as wiser now, not defenseless. And perhaps most notably, she made it clear she doesn't feel obligated to justify her choices publicly. For Katie, happiness appears to be the only metric she's prioritizing, regardless of family concern, media coverage, or public opinion. Right now, the divide couldn't be clearer. Family concern on one side, Katie's absolute certainty on the other. And this story is still evolving. If you want the real timeline without the spin, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next. As all this unfolds, Dubai has effectively become the backdrop to the relationship. Katie has been traveling there repeatedly to see Lee, with what looks like an extended honeymoon phase rather than a short celebratory trip. The constant back and forth has kept the relationship visible, but it's also kept scrutiny high. During part of the trip, suddenly what was framed as a romantic honeymoon started looking more like a social getaway. Photos from beach clubs, group shots, and casual luxury moments shifted the optics from intimacy to spectacle. And social media is playing a huge role here. Carefully chosen pictures, filtered images, coordinated posts. They all create a polished narrative of happiness. But polish doesn't always mean complete. And viewers are increasingly questioning how much of the reality sits outside those curated frames. So the Dubai setting isn't just geography anymore. It's become part of the storyline. A place where passion, image management, and public perception are all blending together, sometimes uncomfortably. At this stage, image control has become a major part of the story. Social posts showing filtered couple photos, matching tattoos, and symbolic gestures all project unity and commitment. Those visuals send a clear message: stability, confidence, permanence. But they've also increased scrutiny rather than calming it. Part of that disbelief comes from the ongoing AI image allegations linked to Lee's online presence. Whether intentional or misunderstood, the perception alone has made some observers question authenticity. And once credibility becomes a talking point, every new post tends to be analyzed more closely. Meanwhile, Katie's own vlogs are reinforcing a very different narrative. Luxury travel, designer items, tailored outfits, expensive fragrances. The lifestyle presentation suggests comfort, control, and satisfaction. It positions the relationship as aspirational rather than controversial. So what's emerging is a narrative tug-of-war. On one side, public displays of happiness and success. On the other, persistent external concern from family, media, and online commentators. Neither side fully cancels the other, which is why the story continues to hold attention. Even as the marriage continues publicly, Princess Andre is reportedly left brokenhearted, but she hasn't stayed idle. Sources say she's tried repeatedly to raise concerns, organize conversations, and make sure her mum hears perceptions she might otherwise ignore. This isn't a one-off worry. It fits a pattern of loved ones stepping in whenever red flags appear. Katie, however, constantly frames her choices as entirely personal. She's accentuating autonomy, experience, and confidence, signaling that she's not going to bend to outside pressure, even from her own family. That contrast, daughter pushing out of care, mother asserting independence, is now central to the story. The public is watching all of it unfold, creating a stressed, ongoing narrative that mixes private family dynamics with celebrity spectacle. And it's that tension, protection versus independence, that keeps the audience glued. As the situation stands, this isn't a story about settlement or quick resolution. Katie Price's marriage to Lee Andrews has been framed as an act of defiance against criticism, signaling that she intends to follow her own path regardless of opposition. Family concern, while real and ongoing, hasn't led to any immediate change, meaning the tension remains unsettled. Meanwhile, the public narrative has shifted. What began as a romantic headline now centers on questions of trustworthiness, judgment, and trust. The story isn't neatly tied up. It's a living example of independence clashing with protection. Ultimately, this chapter leaves one thing clear. Katie's choices are permanent, the family worry persists, and the public will continue to watch the collision of autonomy and care play out.